All right, so I'm gonna talk about race today. So today we're talking about race because of Mark Dice. Mark Dice said that Brandon Tatum was the DEI hire. I like both of these guys. Brandon went after Tucker, and so Mark went after Brandon. I don't know. Ask them, but it just made me think. I'm gonna talk about race. See this hat? This hat was given to me by my mom. My mom's mom was Scots Irish. My mom's mom married a black guy in the 1940s and got disowned from her family. I've been, too light for blacks and too black for whites. I don't care. Math was my friend anyway growing up. And this is not about me. This is about my observations about race. Now, race is more a social construct, like Charlie would say. Everybody's got genetic differences, even within so-called racial groups. It's more culture that causes disparate peoples, to be upset with one another. Why? Because when you grow up in a culture, it's like it's a bubble world. It's a matrix. So what do we know from the Matrix, the movie, right? So when you're in the Matrix, you can't distinguish that you're in the Matrix because you're completely surrounded by the Matrix. That makes you think that certain things are right, certain things are wrong, and anybody from outside of that Matrix is breaking the rules. So anytime you see somebody that doesn't say excuse me when they burp, that doesn't say excuse me when they fart. If you're in Japan and you wipe your nose at the dinner table, that's absolutely like farting at the dinner table. If you're in certain places and everybody burps, and the burping was a show of gratitude and satisfaction, and the cook knows that he did a good job when everybody at the table is burping. If you don't burp, that ain't right. So you're in the bubble. Anybody from outside the bubble, you'll quickly view as wrong for certain behaviors. Is it universally wrong? No. It's just culturally seen as wrong because of the bubble isolation nature of you growing up in one cultural matrix and not being able to uh actually you can't even imagine another way of being unless you've visited 2 or 3 other cultural matrices, and then you have to start to digest. You have to get your cross-cultural legs. Okay, some people don't have cross-cultural legs. Maybe they don't have enough money to travel. Another thing that people think race is about is a way to diffuse, or race has been one of the ways to diffuse. Sort of like a racial relations theorist said, that some of the racism among white people was put there purposely by rich whites to get the lower class whites off the upper class whites back. In other words, they said, hey, at least you're not a nigger, right? And then the lower class whites sort of adopted that, and they love to spend time talking smack about other racial groups. I know these people. Some of you know these people. They're not the majority of white people. I'm talking about, I live in Pennsylvania. They're just some hill communities where these people are locked in between 2 mountain ranges, okay? Those people go hard at black people behind their back, and some of them are in such a bubble culture, they will even say that stuff in your face. I was in the trucking school a few years ago, and one white guy from Mansfield, Pennsylvania, was talking about how there was one black kid in his high school, and of course they just savagely, racially persecuted this dude. And one of the guys in the truck driving school class was a black guy straight out of prison, and he said, "Oh yeah, how did you talk to him?" And a little white kid was like, "Yeah, we call him nigger, stuff like that." And oh my God, right out there on the tarmac, you almost saw a race war, like right there. But I realized this dude is saying that not because he's attempting fate. He's doing that because he's never been outside that bubble community. All right, so I spent about 13 years in the black community in Paterson, New Jersey, teaching kids how to zip their pants up in the interest of bringing back a healthy situation to the black family. Okay, I was very grateful to do that. American liberals did not want us doing that, called abstinence a dangerous lifestyle. To this day, the idea that we can just visit one woman's behind and then another woman's behind, drop our sperm somewhere, it's fucked up for the kids. It's not cool. It's beyond not cool. It promotes some of the behaviors that our detractors want to be able to pin us to. They want the juvenile delinquency. They like all of that comes from not being properly cultured or socialized because of the absence of a father, a committed father, parents, all this kind of stuff. I understood that black people are not inherently, by the nature attached to their skin, animalistic. Not having a father makes you kind of animalistic. Having a rush of testosterone as a young man with no older man to put you down or temper you. Okay, so I learned that. Some people have an inferiority complex, making them act out excessively superior. I've seen black people do it. They feel inferior, so they talk about how great the black man is. They talk about our achievements as black people. You hear them talk about sports and the penis, right? Oh man, they can't even hang other races. They can't even hang with this girth. They can't hang with this length. They can't hang with this chocolate, you know. But you hear white people do that. When they are starting from a place of inferiority, they have to go push somebody else down so that they can feel at least better than that. It's one of these coping mechanisms. Anyway, I said all of that to say, Black Lives Matter was totally unfair. We had a black president, for God's sakes. But the media allowed them to have more of a voice than they deserve. Nobody tempered Black Lives Matter by saying the most obvious things about our country, like the fact that we had already elected a black president, right? And so what happened was the media helped some of the stupidest among the black community. They actually magnified it. I mean, it's not like they hadn't magnified the worst in our community before. I remember in the 80s, it was always the thug, you know. You never saw a guy who dressed GQ, had his money right on TV. But nowadays, you can't see any black person that is not acting like the white man it owes him some sort of a handout. I'm telling you, if you want reparations, teach young black people how to manage their money. That's about it. Don't give them money. Just teach them what your fathers, grandfathers taught you about how to manage money and right attitudes about competition within the market. Now, the media used the black issue, even a fake black issue, like we're all mad at white America and fuck 1776. Most black people were not mad at the founding of the country. Now, after BLM fell off, it ran its course. We have now black fatigue. That black fatigue, and here's the thing, and this is just unfair, because the media multiplied or amplified the BLM types among the community, which was actually a minority. Black Lives Matter stained middle of the road, level-headed blacks too. And black fatigue is not going to single out those blacks, the BLM types. Black fatigue is like this pendulum of hate that's going to swing back past indifference and hit black people that were never in league with Black Lives Matter. Never thinking, you still owe us, right? Never thinking that. So in the end, why did I do this piece? Because after Mark Dice called Brandon Tatum a self-made YouTuber, a DEI, I thought he must have friends in one of those communities where they just, what is it? Self-censorship. The white self-censorship where they just can't say certain things. And they're coming out. They're coming out. They're liberated. And I guess they're swinging wide, because I don't think Brandon, who's an advocate for conservatism, deserved to be cast as a DEI after he successfully built something. Okay. If you think every black face in a white organization is there as a DEI, I don't know. I don't think I want to think that you represent the majority of white people, because I don't want to think that all white people think that black people would actually be useless, except for their black face to make the company look this, that, and the third. If I thought that, I would just turn to my black friends and say, look, they don't want to hang out with us, and we shouldn't need them to want to hang out with us. But I think that's premature to say that. I think it's premature to say that. I think that those circles where they're just dying to say the N-word and not get penalized by their white friends or anybody because Black Lives Matter put us in a situation where black people had it coming to them. Black Lives Matter is a minority, and also these guys who can't wait to come out into the public square and use the N-word, right? I think they're in a minority. Because if they're not in a minority, I'm okay. Black people are not as stupid as some of these theorists who've said that Ashkenazi Jew is the smartest person on the planet. I do think that it's cultural. And if you really want to break ties with the black community, I believe in the black community to do what a lot of these communities do. The Indian community, Asian community, they keep to themselves and they circulate their goods among themselves, and they serve themselves as a market. Because when black people just stop thinking about white people, they have some kind of a love affair with white people where they want to work with white people. And but if we got the memo from this minority, black people would do fine. All we need to do is stop the hypersexualization and start allowing the energy within our blood lineage to bleed out through free sex. I think that Christian who is also racist, who will damage the body of Christ through racism, is also going to become a thing of the past. Because you guys are in the minority. Just like Black Lives Matter cheerleaders were in the minority.